Week 14. Day 92, on pleasure gained from abstaining. If you are struck by the appearance of any promised pleasure, guard yourself against being hurried away by it, but let the affair wait your leisure, and procure yourself some delay. Then bring to your mind both points of time, that in which you will enjoy the pleasure, and that in which you will repent and reproach yourself after you have enjoyed it, and set before you, in opposition to these, how you will be glad and applaud yourself if you abstain. Epictetus. When you delay gratification, it's tempting to think about it in black and white. Delaying gratification means no pleasure now in exchange for pleasure in the future. Succumbing to instant gratification means some pleasure now at the expense of your future. In reality, things aren't that simple. As Epictetus says, there's pleasure to be found in abstaining. When you successfully deny yourself something, even if you feel deprived of it, at the same time you'll feel proud of acting in accordance with your values and long-term goals. And what might surprise you is that there's some pain found in instant gratification. Yes, you get to enjoy the reward right now, but this also means that you're betraying your future self. You're missing out on the positive feelings you could have gotten by successfully exerting willpower, and in the end, the anger you feel at yourself might not be worth the initial pleasure. Day 93, on connecting dots. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and it will make all the difference. Steve Jobs. All you need to do to achieve your long-term goals is to stick to them. Easy to say, hard to do, particularly when working on those objectives means months upon months of depriving yourself, making sacrifices and hard choices. That's why the belief that things will connect in the end is so important for maintaining a high level of self-discipline over the long term. Willpower alone is a precious tool in your arsenal, but if it isn't combined with the confidence that one day it will all be worth it, you may run out of juice well before reaching that point. When I started my entrepreneurial life, I instilled in myself the belief that no matter what would happen along the way, every sacrifice, hardship, blood, sweat, and tears would be worth it in the end. I had a powerful reason why, and I was confident that I could make it come true. If it weren't for this belief, I know that I would have given up before reaching my objective. And with a more than fair share of knockout-like failures, this would have probably happened a long time before the dots would have finally connected. It took me 7 years before all of my dots, previous experiences and acquired skills, connected and helped me build a successful self-publishing company. When in doubt, remind yourself that change takes time. What you now see as completely unrelated things can soon connect and form a beautiful picture. Day 94, on over-identifying with your emotions. People over-identify with their emotions. I was really mad, I couldn't help it. Mark Manson. I was tired, so I didn't do my workout. But were you really so tired that you couldn't at least try, or did you feel slightly tired and consider it a great excuse to skip exercise altogether? I was angry, so I shouted at her. But does feeling anger mean that you have to vent it, or did shouting at your spouse simply feel better than trying to resist the urge to do so? I felt so joyous, I had to buy it to celebrate. There's nothing wrong in celebration, but if every joyous occasion leads to unnecessary purchases to treat yourself, isn't your joy really acting as an apparently legitimate excuse for not saving money? Take notice of whenever you over-identify with your emotions. How often do you use them as excuses for failing to exert self-control? Letting your fleeting feelings control your actions is a surefire way to jeopardize your resolve to become a self-disciplined person. Day 95, on early morning workouts. I learned the advantage of training early, before the day starts, when there are no other responsibilities and nobody else is asking anything of you. Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's a reason why so many successful people wake up early. Early mornings tend to be free of distractions, people asking things of you, emergencies you need to tend to, and dozens of obligations you need to fulfill. By the time other people are awake, the early risers have accomplished more than the rest will accomplish during their entire workday. One of the best ways to start a day is with exercise. For one, exercising in the morning means that you'll always have time to perform this crucial habit. Leaving exercise for the evening carries the risk of skipping it because of tiredness or other pressing things that require your attention. Second, exercising in the morning sets a powerful example for the rest of the day. You start the day with a conscious decision to do something that requires self-control and dedication. The way you start your day is usually the way the entire day unfolds. Last but not least, training early is usually most effective because that's when you have the most energy. It's hard to have the same reserves of willpower and stamina in the evening, after you've depleted a lot of your mental energy on other things. If possible, try to include exercise in your morning routine. It doesn't have to be an entire workout if for some reason you need to have your workout in the evening. Even just a few reps of some simple exercises, some stretching or a quick walk around the block can provide benefits and start your day on the right note. Day 96, on Silence. Silence is the absolute poise or balance of body, mind, and spirit. The man who preserves his selfhood ever calm and unshaken by the storms of existence, not a leaf, as it were, astir on the tree, not a ripple upon the surface of shining pool, his, in the mind of the unlettered sage, is the ideal attitude and conduct of life. If you ask him, what are the fruits of silence? He will say, they are self-control, true courage or endurance, patience, dignity, and reverence. Silence is the cornerstone of character. Charles Alexander Eastman. In today's noisy world, silence is uncomfortable. Most of us rarely, if ever, experience true silence. We listen to podcasts when exercising, listen to music when commuting, and interrupt work with a chat or two with colleagues. Silence is uncomfortable, because it means there are no outside distractions, it's just you and your thoughts. Silence in a conversation is even more uncomfortable because there's an unspoken rule that when people have nothing to talk about, they should come up with any topic just to avoid an awkward silence that might require them to become fully present and aware of how they really feel. Since silence can bring so much discomfort, it can be a potent tool to improve your self-control. First, sitting in silence and listening to your inner thoughts without any external distractions can help you slow down and analyze your recent decisions or assess how well you're doing with your new goals. Try to spend at least 5 minutes a week in silence and you'll be surprised how much valuable feedback you can retrieve from within you. As a second strategy, embrace silence in a conversation. No, I don't mean that you should make the conversation weird by deliberately not saying anything. I refer to using silence as an exercise in improving your self-control when dealing with other people. For example, try the following challenge for one day. When talking with somebody who has a different opinion than you do, resist the temptation to immediately attack them and instead listen silently until they have fully presented their arguments. You will have positioned yourself for a more intelligent participation in the conversation, simply because you took the time to listen carefully to what the other person said. Another exercise is to practice self-control by using fewer words. For one day, focus on listening to the other person. Ask as many questions as you can to maintain an interesting conversation and resist the urge to comment or share too many of your opinions. Both of these exercises will train you to be more focused on the other person and less impulsive during a conversation. Day 97, on treating yourself well. Nearly every human action is in some way an expression of how we think about ourselves. Gordon Livingston. If nearly every action of yours is an expression of how you think about yourself, what do your actions say about how you see yourself? If a person is stuffing themselves with unhealthy food and drinks, do they respect their bodies, or is it an expression that they don't value the only vessel they'll ever have in this life? If a person is constantly playing video games, watching pornography, or trolling on social media, what does choosing to engage full-time in such low-value entertainment options say about their self-esteem? If for one day they were to play host to an important guest, say a successful person they admire, would they entertain their guest in the same way? If a person is spending money they don't have and never saving even a penny, how much respect do they have for their own well-being, knowing that financial emergencies do happen and that, without savings, they can be some of the most stressful events in life? Consider your actions and ask yourself what they express. Do you treat yourself well, or are most of your actions things you would never do to a dear friend of yours? Day 98, on society, not holding you back. It's not society that holds us back, it's ourselves. We just blame society because not only is it easier but it's a nearly impossible way to move. This way, we don't actually have to change. Neil Strauss. It's easy to use society as a crutch. I can't lose weight because there are billboards of fast food restaurants everywhere, and besides, I just got a free coupon for a burger. I can't become more productive because my colleagues laugh at me for making an effort, and besides, my boss won't appreciate it anyway. I can't stay faithful to my significant other because dating apps make it so easy to meet sexy people. Is it the billboard, your colleagues, or dating apps that control your life? If so, is that really how you'd like to live, at the whim of advertisers, other people, or new technologies? Every time you claim that it's the surroundings that hold you back, ask yourself if it's really your environment or perhaps it's just an easy excuse for you to not act. And if you still think it's your surroundings, because that might be the case, then change them. Nobody forces you to hang out with the same people, install a dating app, or drive by your favorite fast food joints. If your long-term goals are important to you, you can always consider moving to a place that will be more conducive to your personal growth.